Shalom, everyone. Welcome. A warm welcome to those who are here for the first time. I think Reverend Bapuji is with us, so welcome, sir. It's good to have you. Please do come regularly. Uh, we can have a wonderful keyboard. And for those who are here after a long time, also a warm welcome to all of you all to this very special Shiur today. We are in a very special Shiur. The Shiur is from the Torah portion Vayishlach, Book of Genesis. Book of Genesis is now we're coming close to the end of the book of Genesis, and Parashat Vayishlach is a very, very important portion. So, what this Torah portion is all about? This Torah portion is about Yacov returning back to the land, meeting his brother Esav, and they have this meeting, and they hug each other and they cry over each other's shoulder, and then Esav invites him to walk together, and he says no, and Esav goes back to Edom. Yaakov is supposed to go to the certain place, to Bethel, and he's supposed to, because he promised God that he would raise an altar there and that he would visit him. But instead of that, he stops at Shechem, and something happens at Shechem. The entire city is slaughtered, and Dinah is molested, and the story goes on and on. And finally, the next Torah portion is Vaishev, and he dwelt in the land. But there's something very, very important to learn from everything in this Torah portion. Turn with me to the book of Genesis, and we're going to read from chapter 32, verse 4 onwards. Now, I'm reading from the Hebrew Bible. So, if you do have the Hebrew Bible with you all, please open it. If you'll have an English Bible, what would be ideal would be a KJV, because a KJV is very ideal. Okay. And it says, Vayishlach Yacov Malakim Levpanav El Esav Achiv Aratsa Seir Sadeh Edom. And Yaakov sent angels before him to Esav his brother to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. He sent angels. Now I want you to all understand the word Malakim means angels, and it could also mean messengers, right? Because angels are all called messengers. Okay, so sorry. And so he sends angels. How does he send angels? Now, when you're reading this in the English, you will not really get the gist of what's written out here, because it says very clearly, Vayishlach Yacov Mala'akim, angels. It does not say Anashim, it does not say men, it does not say anybody else, it says Malakim. So he's literally sending angels. Now, do you remember that when he's leaving the land, he encounters angels also? And then he has this dream, right? In Vayishlach, he has this dream, and God assures him of everything in that dream. And now, when he's coming into the land, he's entering into the land, he's sending these angels before him to go and to meet Esav. But the problem is, I don't understand, and neither should you all understand. Why does Yaakov send these angels or these messengers to Esav? How long has Yaakov been out of the land? 34 years. He was 60 years old when he took the blessing. He was 60 years old. Then he leaves the land, he travels for 2 years, that's 62 approximately. And before he goes to Lavan, he goes to the yeshiva at Shem, and he's studying for 14 or 15 years with Shem, and in Shem's yeshiva, and he's learning a lot of the ways of God from there. And then he leaves and goes to Laban. And by the time he's like 85, 86, he actually goes to Laban's place, and he works 20 years for Laban over there. And then he comes back. So how old is Yaakov? He's really old at that point of time. And now he comes back, and his twin brother is also the same age. So he's practically been around 30 plus years outside the land. Why does he need to contact his brother? His brother's forgotten him. Maybe the animosity is not there anymore. Maybe it's not required. You see, if it was you or me, we would say, "Hey, just let it be. There's no need to contact him. He's forgotten. I don't even know what state that guy is in. What my brother, just let him be. I'd quietly sneak into the land. I'll build my my tents, my place, my family. I will do everything quietly. Why should I interfere? It's like going and uh, pulling a dog's ears all the time. Get up, waking, poking a dog. Why do you want to poke a dog unnecessarily? And he's like your enemy. There's no need to poke a will. But Yacov sends his malachim. He says, let's go. You please go and tell my brother Esav that I have returned back into the land. Ha! Why does Yaakov do this? Yaakov does this because I think he weighs the choice. You see, he's in choice. What would Yaakov prefer? Would he prefer difficult situations and constant war, or to live with strife, or would he prefer assimilation? You must be wondering, why am I saying this? Each time the nation of Israel lived with strife and with problems, they multiplied. They did. When Israel tried assimilation, they nearly died out. They tried assimilation with the Greeks, big problem. They tried assimilation with the Romans, never worked out. With the Babylonians, big problem. So the choice between assimilation and strife and difficult situation is what Yaakov had to make. So Yaakov says, I'm going to go headlong into it. I don't care what is the outcome. If it is war, it's war. We'll live with it. We may compromise, we'll move away, but we will live. But I will not go by the path of assimilation. Because if I have to come quietly into the land and take over a certain portion of the land and live, and suddenly my brother would realize that someone would go and tell him, your brother's back into the land, he will get suspicious and say, that crook has come back without telling me. Maybe he's got some tricks up his sleeve. Maybe he's planning something against me. And that is going to be definite animosity and war. So Yaakov says, headlong, I will not go. I will not come quietly. I will not assimilate into the land. I will go and take the bull by the horns, sort out the problem, whatever happens, happens. Based on that, then he tells them, Vayitzav, and commands them, Vayitzavotam, Lemor, Ko Temraun le Adonai, Leasav, Ko Amar Avdecha Yaakov, Im Laban, Karti Ve'acher Adata. Thus and he charged them, commanded them, saying, this you shall say to my servant Yaakov. I have sojourned with Laban and have lingered until now, and have acquired ox and donkey, flock and servant and maidservant, and I'm sending to tell my Lord to find favor in your eyes. Why is he saying this? Because he wants his brother to know that although I stole your birthright and I also stole the blessing, but see, all this which I've gathered is outside the land of Israel. You have prospered in the land. I have not taken anything from you. I may have done that, but truly, see what all I've got. The Lord has given me everything. Don't think I've come back by stealing your birthright. What is yours only. So please forgive me for that. But there's something in this verse now, and this is what I wanted to highlight today, and I wanted to share with you all, because this verse is really amazing, and I specifically said that I'm going to speak about this concept called Taryag Mitzvot. Taryag Mitzvot. Taryag Mitzvot, for those who know the Hebrew and understand and have learned the Hebrew, Taryag Mitzvot is an acronym for the 613 commandments of the Torah. Because Taryag, if you put into Gematria, it comes to Taf, which is 400, uh, Hesh, which is 200, Yud, which is 10, and Gimel is 3. That comes to 613, Taryag. So in Israel, or among the Jewish people, they do not, they refer to the whole mitzvot, the 613 commandments, as Taryag mitzvot, right? But I want you to notice one word out here in the sentence. It says, I'm going to read it out to you. It says, hmm, Le Esav ko Amar, go to Esav and say unto this, Avdecha, your servant, Yacov, im Laban, with Laban, and he says, Garti, Gimel, Hesh, Taf, Yud. It's the same word as Taryag, but only thing it's not the order of the consonants is here and there. But the value of this word Garti is 613. And this is what we need to understand. Why is Yacov using Garti out here, which is Taryag? Okay, we are here at and I have, he says, I have sojourned with Laban, Garti with Laban, and have kept it, have lingered until this day. That means I have not lost my Taryag mitzvot. I left the land keeping the mitzvot. I was with Laban and I still kept all the commandments. Okay, and I'm come back, although I stayed with him until today. I'm still in Taryag mitzvot and I'm still keeping the commandments. Look, he says, he's telling his brother, you may like it or not, from a spiritual point of view, I have not changed. You may have not uh, liked my being a person in the tent and my person keeping the Torah of God, but I still keep the Torah of God. I've been through all these situations, but it's still Taryag Mitzvot, because of which I have acquired ox and donkey and flock and servants and maid servants, and I'm sending you to tell my Lord so that you find favor in my eyes, that you may look at me differently now. It's been more than 30 years. He says, at least now appreciate that I'm different from you. And and I'm not like you. Okay, so but please appreciate this. So it's like an imploring out here. This is what he's doing. It's a very, very interesting word. So how do we know that Yaakov actually kept the Torah, but not keeping the Torah like what the Torah is in the book of Exodus? That is a fundamental difference out here. What is the difference? Because the Torah is not yet given. It's 400 years from now the Torah is going to be given at Har Sinai. So what is the Torah he's following? We'll come to that because it's a great mystery, friends. It's wonderful as we go ahead. Okay. Then the angels return to him, to Yaakov, saying, we came to your brother to Esav, and moreover, he's heading towards you, and 400 of his men are with him. Now Esav is in full panic mode. He says, my brother's come. If he's going to come with his horde and with his army, I'm going to collect my army and I'm going to go towards him. And let's see how it works out. Maybe we fight, maybe we assimilate, maybe I don't know what happens, but I got to protect myself. So both of them coming to heads together. And you'll know the story, right? And then Yaakov becomes very frightened, and then he divides the camp, Machane, right? He divides two camps, he makes it into two camps, which is very, very interesting because in due course of time, in historical context, the nation of Israel becomes two nations. One is Israel, one is Judah. And that's all for the preservation because, by the way, when we're studying the book of Hosea in the Old Testament, we're doing a series on Hosea and Navi. We realize that 150 years before Israel goes into exile by Tiglath-Pileser from the Syrian Empire. And then 150 years, approximately 135 years later, something, then Yehuda goes into exile. Two kingdoms. They split into two kingdoms. And then he splits them up, and then Jacob says, he says, God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, Vayomer Yaakov Eloha Avi Abraham, Ve'eloha Avi Yitzchak, Adonai Ha'amor Elai Shuv Le'aratza. He says, you said to me, Lord, return to your land and to your birthplace, and I will do good with you. And I have been diminished by all the kindnesses that you have shown me, by the truth that you have done to your servant. For with my staff I crossed this Jordan and now have become into two camps. You see how prophetic all this is. Rescue me, he says, please, from the hand of my brother Esau. In fact, you can read this as, rescue me, please, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. He does not say, rescue me from the hand of my brother Esau. He says, rescue me from my brother, comma, and rescue me from the hand of Esau. Why is the language like this? See, you will not get all these nuances in the English, but in the Hebrew, it's very, very clear. It's perfect clarity, because he's differentiating between his brother who he loves, okay, and between that spiritual impediment called Esau, because that is who he's fighting with. He has to overcome Esau. Anyway, so he says, rescue me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him lest he, who's he fearing? Is he fearing his brother or is he fearing Esau? He's talking about Esau over here. From the hand of Esau, for I fear him lest he come and strike me and mother and children. And you had said, I will surely do good with you, and I will make your offspring like the sand of the sea, which is too numerous to be counted. Then he spent the night there, and then he took, all that story. I'm just going to run through that story. And then he sends this mincha, this 200 sheep and oxen and goats, and he sends them in approach presents to his brother, and his brother's wondering, Esau's wondering what's happening out here. And then the story about the struggle which we done last year with the angel. By the way, it's the angel of Esau. So he's actually fighting the Malachim of Esau out here. Okay, so we're going to skip that, and then we're going to read from chapter 33, Perek Lamed Gimel. Chapter 33 says, Yacov raised his eyes and saw, behold, Esau was coming, and with him 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two handmaids. Please make a note of this, it's very, very important. And their children first. Okay, and he put the handmaids and their children first, then Leah and her children second, and after that he put Rachel and Joseph last. And he went on ahead of them and bowed 7 times on the earth until he reached his brother. Okay, so what does he do? He takes the two concubines, Bilhah and Zilpah, and their children, that's Asher and Gad and all those, Naphtali and all, and they come before Esau and they bow down and they give honor to Esau. Then the next is Leah and her children, that's Reuben and all those, them with Dinah. They bow down, and last he brings Rachel and Joseph. And he went on ahead, okay, he bowed down, and then Esau ran towards him and he embraced him and he fell upon his neck and he kissed him and they wept for a long time. And then he raised his eyes and saw the women and children. He said, who are these to you? He says, who are all this? Imagine then you're talking to a 100-year-old man. It's like, who are these? I mean, obviously you have children, wives, and concubines are there. And he said, the children whom God has given me graciously given to your servant, he says. And then the handmaids came forward and their children, and they bowed down, and Leah too came and forward with her children, and they bowed down. And then Joseph and Rachel came forward and bowed down. Notice Joseph comes first and Rachel. But someone's missing out here. If you'll catch this on, someone is missing big time. Who's missing out here? That person's not yet born as yet. His name is Binyamin. Binyamin is not yet born. He's probably conceived, probably she's carrying, probably she's pregnant or whatever. But he's not here. Maybe not even conceived at this point of time. He's the only one missing in this equation. And there is a reason for this, because I'm going to tell you what this reason is. You see, Esau has a son by the name of Eliphaz. Eliphaz marries a woman called Timnah. And they have a child by the name of Amalek. So who's Amalek? Amalek is the descendant of Esau. Very good. And who's Amalek? God says, you will destroy Amalek from the face of this earth. Why? God detests Amalek completely. The enmity between the Jewish people and Amalek plays out even till today. Even till today. The descendants of Esau and Amalek are still at it with the Jewish people even till today. Okay, so let's put this into perspective. Binyamin is missing because Binyamin is the only one who can overcome and conquer Esau and Amalek. You'll ask me why. Because every one of Yacov, and including Yacov, and his maids, his concubines, his wives, and all his children, all those who came and bowed before Esau were not able to conquer Esau. Who's missing? Binyamin is missing. Binyamin is missing. Okay, let's look at historically now. Who is the first person that God told that you will go and you will destroy the Amalekites? King Shaul, from the tribe of Binyamin. You see, when you're reading the Bible correctly, it really amazes you. Because God knew that none of the tribes are going to be able to destroy Amalek and the children of Esau, because they all bowed down before him. Very interesting. So what does God do when the people of Israel gets up and tells Samuel, give us a king? God says, okay, choose someone from Binyamin. Take it. But what does Shaul do? What does King Shaul do? He disobeys God. He does not destroy the Amalek. He does not. Who also from the Agagi, right? That descendants also plays out in the story of Purim, in the story of Hadassah, because now who is the one who overcame Haman, the Agagi, the son of Amalek, was Mordecai. Mordecai was a Jew from the tribe of Benjamin. Friends, one decision you and me make in life, it goes down to generations. And this is why God was very angry with Saul. He said, because you've destroyed me, because you've disobeyed me, I've taken away the kingdom from you. If you had not disobeyed me, you would have been the choice for the house of Saul would have ruled Israel. Because Saul was the only one who could destroy Amalek. He had a certain choice factor with God choosing him. But he disobeyed God. So God said, out, and he brings David Hamelech in. Anyway, but that's all. It's something to think about out here. So all of them come and they bow down, and all of them pay obeisance to Esau out here, and none of them are able to Esau. Now, earlier we've also studied and we've seen that Esau and Yacov are like the two inclinations in a human being. How does Yaakov negotiate a space with Esau? If Yaakov is the one who's pursuing goodness, kindness, and Torah and living Taryag, Mitzvot, how does he pursue and negotiate a space? Not by strife. You can see now the two brothers are kind of reconciled. There is no strife and there's no war. Okay, so they're not at it, they're not at each other's throat, they're not fighting. Let's see if they assimilate. Let's see. And then he says, why are you sending me all these gifts, right? He says, no, I don't need all the stuff. I mean, I've got enough. He says, whatever you have, keep it for you. And then Yaakov says, if I've now found favor in your eyes, then accept these tribute from me. But as much as I've seen your face, which is seeing the face of a divine being, that you have been appeased by me. So we studied this last time, the relationship between Esav and Yaakov. I've always said that both of them, they're twins, right? They represent two kinds of people because even the Torah says that two nations are in your womb. One, Yaakov is the Jewish people, and Esav is what is talked about. Esav is supposed to be a Romim, is supposed to be Rome, symbolically, and supposed to be Christianity of its day to day. And these two brothers are not going to look eye to eye. And traditionally, we've never seen eye to eye. There's been some kind of a thing, but there is a middle factor in between, and that's Binyamin. Please make a very simple note of this. Now, New Testament. New Testament. Who is the Shliach that is gone and got the mandate to go to the Gentiles? Is it Peter, Kepha, Shimon Kepha? No. Who is it? It's Rav Shaul from the tribe of Benjamin, from the tribe of Binyamin. He is the one who's negotiating with Esau. He's the one who's negotiating with the Gentiles and converting them and bringing the Gentiles in. Friends, you'll see how this is working. The wonders of God and the wonders of His Torah, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. He says in the book of Acts, he says, I am a Jew, he says, born and brought up and studied on the feet of Gamliel. You want to study the history of Gamliel and who Rav Shaul studied with? A Pharisee of a Pharisee, highest of the order from the tribe of Binyamin, he says. Because Binyamin is the only one who can bring Esau into subjection. And you know what? Today, 1.6 billion Christians are there because one person, Rav Shaul, went out from the tribe of Binyamin and brought everybody into Yeshua. You see, we have to understand God's ways, not our ways. Beautiful. Okay. Then he says, no, I don't need this, he says. This is too much. He says, I've got my own things. He says, you can please go ahead. Then he said, then, Esau says, come, travel with me. Let us go. I will walk with you. Let's go together. You know what? The Christian wants to tell the Jew, come on. You need to become a Christian. The Jew says, no, I don't need to become a Christian. I'm sorry. Yeah, my brother, I agree with you. Same God, same Bible, everything. But I'm not going to become a Christian. I will remain a Jew. But he said to him, Yacov says to Esau, he says, my Lord knows that the children are tender and the nursing flocks and the cattle are upon me, and they will drive them hard for one day, and then all the flocks will die. He says, I've got people to look after. I've got to keep the mitzvot. I have to keep them in the way of God. I've got things to do. If I am going to desert my Taryag mitzvot to live that life which you're living, I cannot do it. I can't do it. But wait till the end before anybody jumps to any conclusions, okay? Just wait till the end. He says, let my Lord go. He says, he tells Esau, he said, you go ahead of your servant. Don't worry. He says, I will make my way slowly and surely at my own pace, according to the gate of the work that is before me, and to the gate of the children, until I come to my Lord in Seir. He says, I will come to you, but let me do it at my own pace. I'm not going to walk with you because the Yetzar Hara, the evil inclination, is constantly wanting you to run, do it, move. You remember last time? I think where did we study that? I think we studied it in God's time. Somewhere earlier we had studied that Yeshua says, when his brothers are egging him on, they say, come on, what are you sitting in the Galil, sitting in Tiberias and Kafar Nukum and trying to do big miracles and doing all this. Go to Jerusalem. That's where you need to go and show yourself. Don't you want to be known? Don't you want people to know you that you are a great miracle worker? What are you doing miracles here? Go to Jerusalem. What did Jesus tell them? Yeshua says, my time is not come as yet. But for you, your time is always ready. Always ready. This is something we have to take in mind. We're always constantly doing so many things. So many things. We're not waiting for God's time. So therefore, Jesus says, you want to do things, and for you, the time is always right. But for God's time, wait for it. So Yacov is saying, he's very smart. He's very smart. Yacov is very smart. He's saying, I know the times. Wait, you go ahead in your pace because I can't pull you back. If I try and pull you back, you are going to have a problem. If a Jew pulls a Christian back, there's going to be an endless trouble over there. And 2000 years, we've seen what has happened, right? That relationship is not very, very conducive as such. So he says, you go, do what you have to do. I'll come and meet you at my own pace. Continue. Then Esau said, let me assign some people with you. So, to help you along the way so nothing happens to you, And then he said, to what purpose? Let me find favor. And he says, we are okay. I mean, you don't have to do all these things, right? So Esau went back that day on his way to Seir, and Yacov journeyed to Sukkot, and he built himself a house, and for his livestock, he comes to this place, a geographical place, and he builds sukkahs of there. Sukkahs. And then Jacob, and verse 18 says, listen very carefully. It says, Vayavo Yaakov Shalem Ir Shechem Asher Be'eretz Canaan Bevavo Mifpadan Aram Vayetchen Et Paneh Ha'ir. Vayavo Yaakov Shalem Ir. And Yaakov came into Shechem in Shalom. This is a very big statement. What do you mean he came into Shalom? He was limping. He was physically hurt. He had all the problems. But he came in Shalom. What does it mean that he came in Shalom? This is the crux of everything. The Torah says that he came in whole and complete and Shalom. Is because Yaakov now finally has reached that level of understanding what Shalom is because of Taryag Mitzvot, because he was keeping the Mitzvot right from the beginning. So it's the matter and the conduct of every child of Israel, of every Jewish person, to become Shalom. Shalom not only means peace. Peace is a derivative of Shalem. Okay? But Shalem and Shalom means to be whole, to be complete. And to be complete means that I am so tuned and balanced in my cognitive emotive, physicality, everything is working in beauty and in complete calmness, and there is no strife within me as a person. I have no hitches. I have no glitches inside of me. I have no stress inside of me. I have no hate inside of me. And I'm so perfectly calm that all my being inside of me desires only one thing: avodah Hashem, to work and to perform service to the Lord. That's all my being knows, because I'm in oneness with Him. That's a level, that's a level that nobody has seen in this world. Nobody. That's a level Yeshua was trying to teach his brothers, the Jewish people, as long as he was on this earth. I find it amazing that how do we greet people? How do we greet people? You go to a congregation, churches, praise the Lord, brother, praise the Lord. I don't understand what praise the Lord is. You know what Yeshua, how he greeted people and how people greeted Yeshua? He said, Shalom Aleichem. What does it mean to be Shalom? What does it mean to be Shalom? It's so encouraging to greet somebody saying Shalom to you, Shalom Aleichem. It means that you're recognizing that the person in front of you is also practicing and is in the process of being whole and complete cognitively, emotively, physicalness, the soul qualities. There is no strife inside that person. He's not fighting 1 minute, he's not shouting 1 minute, he's not angry 1 minute, he's calm, he's matured, he's speaking truth. You can see radiancy on his face. He's a personality to be liked. Wisdom flows from his mouth. Everything. It's not that you see a person and this person is doing miracles and doing all these wonderful things. That's not what the Bible is saying. Bible is saying you have to walk in the image of God first. The image of God is most prime importance, and that is shalom. To be completely congruent in every aspect of your being, completely at shalom. And the result of that is peace. The result is peace. Now listen to this now. So we've covered this angle and we've seen that Yacov has come into the land in shalom. That means he's been in the process of living Taryag Mitzvot. If I take this word Taryag Mitzvot, okay, which is Garti, the same word we read earlier, 613. There is another word, okay, that has the absolutely same gematria value. And that gematria value, okay, is the word oroth. Oroth means lights, complete lights. What is light? If I take oroth, aleph, vav, ayesh, vav, and taf, it's 613. So Taryag Mitzvot 613, the commandments, is the same word in value, spiritual value, as light. As light. I just want to connect my charger 1 second, guys. Okay. It's the same word as light. And this light now stand that all the concepts that God had given is about light. That if you are following the commandments, it's light. Okay, so there is complete light, full light, because God Himself is light. Okay, that's oroth. That light needs to be filled into this physical world. It has to pervade this world. For that light to be contained in this world, it needs a vessel. So therefore, light cannot pervade this world because this world cannot contain that light. It's too much. It will break, it will shatter. Therefore, there is a complete change, there is a complete contraction of this light. And the contraction of this light, now finally, if you look, if you contract 613, the approximate middle point of 613 is 307. The approximate midpoint of 613 is 307. If you put 307 into value, it gives you the name Rivka, which is the mother, one of the mothers of Israel. Wow. So now we are seeing something very, very interesting out here. If you contract that light even further down, and you look at another mother, you look at Leah. Leah, that name comes to 36. 36. Now, 36 is a fabulous number. It's a fabulous number because 36 is a triangle of 8 and it's a 6 squared number. And every single feast in the Torah, starting from Pesach to Shavuot to the Sukkot, everything is got to do with the number 8. You know, when we study Torah with mathematics, I've done this before with very select groups in this thing. Number 8 is an amazing number. The triangle of 8 is 36, which is a 6 squared. Is the first triangulated number that's also a square. Eight days of Hanukkah, 7 days of Pesach, matzah bread, and the 14th day is Pesach. That's 8 days. Wow. 8 days of Sukkot, because 7 days of Feast of Tabernacles, and the last day is Shmini Atzeret, or Simchat Torah. 8th day is Brit Milah, circumcision, and the list goes on. The list goes on. But Leah, which is 36, is of a light that is a hidden light. Its light is the hidden light. That's why it's got to do with the 8 days of Hanukkah. And it's all hidden. It's got to do with thought. It's light which is descending from above, but it's thought. It's got to do with thought. Very interesting. So now we have two mothers of this thing that has got to do with the light. Okay, the third mother, Rachel. I'm doing all this in short video because it's a very big study. Rachel. The word Rachel, the name Rachel is equal to 238. 238 in Gematria. Now, if for those who know mathematics, Rachel, the name Rachel has 3 prime factors in it. 238 has 3 prime factor numbers attached to it. It's 2, 7, and 17. If you add all these, it gives you the number 26. Fantastic. If you multiply all of that, it gives you number 238. But 2, 7, and 17 are the prime factor numbers of 238. If you add all of them, it gives you 7 plus 2, 9, 9 plus 17 gives you 26. And 26 is the number of God's revealed name, Yod He Vav He. So where Leah now is the hidden light. It's got to do with all the hidden things of the Torah. Rachel 238 has got to do with the revealed things of Torah. Now look at the order that Yacov puts his children in. First, he sends the maids and their children. The maids and the children, his concubines and the children, are like the inspiration but has no body, it has no form, it has no structure. It's just will. Then he sends the Leah and her children. That is the hidden light. And last of all, he sends Rachel, which is the revealed light, because Rachel is got to do with this earth, is got to do with practicing, and it's got to do with speech. Leah's got to do with thought. Thought now is the process of learning. Thought is got to do with learning. Rachel has got to do with speech and doing. Yeah. Leah has got to do with thought process and learning. Rachel has got to do with speech and doing. There was a time in the history of Israel that when there was great learning, all got to do with time of Leah. But when they never done the speech and the doing of Rachel, it was a problem. Now, why did Yacov favor Rachel? He loved Rachel because he wanted that divine light which was hidden to be revealed to this world. I'm talking to you all in many different ways. The hidden light to be revealed in this world, and that's why Rachel and Joseph were different to Leah and her children. Now, Leah and her children were shepherds, basically. They were alone, they were in the thought process. They never mixed, they never lived in cities and done great things. But Rachel and her children, Joseph was like a king. He managed people, managed cities, big people. Binyamin also, his descendants were like Shaul. So the hidden light, which is Leah, and the revealed light. Now, if I add 238, which is Rachel, which is the revealed light or the returning light, okay, and Leah, which is the hidden light, 36, I get a number of 274. 238 and 36 is 274. Do you know what's the value of 274 in the Hebrew? Because that gives me the word 274, gives me the word sulam, which is ladder. And here we are. This is where Yacov is connected to his two wives, because when he slept and he had that dream, what did he have? What did he dream of? He dreamt of a ladder from this earth to the heavens. That was Sulam Yacov. That was 274. Therefore, his two wives, Rachel and Leah, were the 274 were the ladders in the spiritual terms that he was building on and which he could ascend to receive Shalem. It took him to bring forth 13 children, including Dia, one daughter, to reach that level of Yacov with his two wives, Rachel and Leah, friends. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. You know, many people say, oh, Gematria, but you know, if you use Gematria the right way, you will understand so many things. Now, if I take 274 and add Rachel, Leah, that's 274, and add Yaakov to that mix. Yaakov is 182. So 274 and 182 gives me the number 456. 456 is the word Tehena in Hebrew. And what is Tehena? Tehena is the fig tree. That's got to do with Torah. And we are back to Taryag Mitzvot. And we're back to the 613 commandments, because the fig tree denotes the Torah. Now we in John chapter 15, Gospel of John chapter 15, Jesus comes and he's hungry and he's hungered and he looks at the fig tree and it's not given fruit, it's still not ripe. And he curses the tree, right? He curses that tree. What's happening out there? He says, because the tree was not ready. This is a big meaning altogether. Like Adam and Hawa, they were immature to partake of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So God never gave them permission. But if they had waited and they were mature enough, then God would have ultimately given them permission to partake of it in maturity and in responsibility, and they would have reached another level of existence. But in haste, they partook of it, they paid the consequences of it. Now, that's why when they sin, they cover themselves with fig leaves, all figuratively, okay, allegorically. Now, fast forward, jump fast forward. We're looking at Yeshua is looking at this tree and he's looking at Israel, not ready. And he's saying, and Yeshua becomes so impatient at that point of time. He says, because his entire being is screaming out for rectification, that this world needs to be rectified, but nothing is in place. Neither is Israel ready, neither is the fig tree, neither is the Torah bring them to that level of redemption or that rectification. And he's screaming out. The end result is he gives up and he says, Father, if the cross is the only way forward, Father, then so be it. Nevertheless, I pray that you would remove this cup from me. If it is not, let thy will be done. But until the last minute, he still had hopes that the Torah would be able to rectify all, and it has the power to rectify. It does. Rav Shaul says it in the book of Romans. It says it's holy, it's good, it's everything. But it fell short because humanity were not able to keep the Torah in its entirety and its perfection. So Yeshua had to come and do that. Oh, friends, there's a lot more I can sit down and teach all so many other things. But Taryag Mitzvot, we see this in the story of Yacov. That is why last time I also said that Yacov is the choicest of the fathers. Abraham and Yitzhak and before them, the Torah was not given to them because they were not a people as yet. But now Yaakov is finally a people, and they're able now finally to keep the Torah. Okay, but when the Torah is not ready, when Israel is not ready, when people are not ready, and look at our congregations world over, do you think we are ready? I don't think we're ready too, friends. Okay, we're not ready too. So there's so many secrets in the Torah and the Bible. If we only learn, we understand how we need to prepare ourselves. Okay, we have so much little time to do all that we're doing, friends. But I just wanted to share this with you all. Uh, God bless. Have a wonderful uh, weekend. Have a wonderful Shabbat tomorrow, and we meet next week. God bless each one of all. I'm going to put the recording off.